Hello everybody and welcome back to the Skullgirls tutorial walkthrough. We'll go with that. I'm your host, Saigan. We're doing Chapter 2 today. I hope that the advice on Chapter 1 was useful. I hope that the volume settings are better this time. Let's go ahead and jump into it because the tutorial is quite good on its own. I will try to only add explanations when necessary. Overview: defending mix-ups. Every type of attack can be defended against in some way, so your opponent will frequently vary the type of attack that they do to make it harder to defend against them. These are called mix-ups. Now we're going to look at how to defend against and how to perform various mix-ups. Mix-ups are very important in pretty much every fighting game. All of them. What a mix-up essentially is, beyond what they've explained, is you train your opponent to defend in a certain way. Once you know how they're going to defend, attack where they are undefended. So make them think that you're going overhead by going overhead several times and then go low. Things like that. Lesson 1. High-low mix-ups. That's actually the example that I just gave you. One way opponents may try to mix you up is by switching between high and low attacks. High attacks may be blocked while standing, but can only be delivered while jumping for the most part. There are such things as standing overheads. I believe we talked about it last time. Standing overheads take a little bit longer to happen, so you have time to react to them, but they are still an important thing to watch out for as part of the mix-up game. Low attacks must be blocked while crouching and are also generally delivered while crouching. Like standing overheads, there are also such things as standing low attacks. Those tend to come out a little bit faster. No jumping attack will ever be low. I'm like 99% certain of that. I'm racking my brain for an instance where I might be wrong, but I can't come up with one. So we're going to say no jumping attack is ever going to be low. Defending against these mix-ups is easier than it sounds. Remember, blocking low blocks both low and mid attacks. So when defending, it's always best to block while crouching. Stand only when you see the opponent jump and crouch again as soon as your opponent lands. This is actually normally a pretty good rule. I'm going to interrupt that real quickly with a little bit more information. First of all, defending against throws, it's called teching. It's when you press the throw command as you are being thrown. Does not work while you're crouching. Not everybody knows that. Unfortunately, some of the more popular fighting games like Street Fighter 4, for instance, allows you to tech while you are crouched. That is not the case in Skullgirls. If that's what you're used to and you're wondering why you're not teching throws, took us a while to figure that out here at my home as well. You cannot tech while you are crouching in Skullgirls. Alright, so blocking low. Alright, if she jumps, we're going to go high. Alright, this next one's going to be where she incorporates the overheads. That was all on me because I was talking. I shouldn't talk and try to defend against mix-ups at the same time. Whoa. Okay. Alright. Alright. I don't know if she didn't do any of her standing overheads. That may be in the next tutorial segment. But that is something to watch out for with Parasol. She's got 2 standing overheads, I think. Parasol has amazing mix-ups. It's one of both Parasol and I want to say Painwheel have some of the best mix-ups in the game. Moving on to Chapter 2, Lesson 2. Punishing. Learn how to punish your opponent's use of risky attacks. Being able to guard correctly and knowing when to punish are the two things that will set you ahead in any fighting game even ones that you have never played before. If you know the basics of defense and the basics of punishing, you can beat any beginner. And lots of intermediates who are too focused on trying to style on you or trying to be fancy with combos. Defense and punishing are the two basic skills of fighting games. Overview, recovery and block stun. After performing an attack, there's a short period of time before you can start a new attack. This is called the recovery period. Similarly, after blocking an attack, there's a short period of time where you are busy blocking and can't do anything else. This is called being in block stun. Quick note, you cannot grab somebody who is in block stun. So if you hit them with an attack that gives really long block stun, you can't just immediately mash out a grab, it will whiff. Lesson 1, unsafe attacks. Each attack will put the attacker in recovery and the defender in block stun for a different amount of time. Attacks that have more recovery than block stun are dangerous. This is typically going to be a lot of your special moves and a lot of your heavy attacks, because the defender can counterattack before the attacker has finished recovering. When defending, you must learn to look for these unsafe attacks so that you can counterattack. This is why you start off your attacks with pokes. Safe attacks that come out fast, that are easy to confirm into combos with. You are very rarely just going to throw out, some kind of just standing heavy attack that's wildly unsafe. It's going to vary from character to character which ones you can get away with what on those, so be sure to learn your characters. I was reading. Okay, we need to block her and hit her while she is recovering, which is after her sweep. Ooh. Come on. Oh, she got me. There we go.
Here today, gone tomorrow.
Can anybody stop this fighting machine?
Moving on into hit confirmation. I seem to have a nasty habit of talking about the next lesson before we get there, so let's just do it. Poking. As we discussed. On the offensive, sticking with mostly safe attacks will protect you against punishment. This attack is often referred to as poking. Pokes are safe attacks that tend to be fast, lightly damaging attacks like light punch and light kick. Attack with some pokes now. Poking with chains. Try poking with Philia's crouching light kick into crouching medium kick chain now. Longer attack strings can be put together with a chain of safe attacks. You'll learn more about chains in a later chapter. With Philia in particular, her crouching medium kick is neutral on block, which means you are safe after doing it, and it hits multiple times. This is one of the ideal pokes because it makes it really easy to hit confirm. Hit confirmation chains. I know this looks like a lot of text if you're new to fighting games, and I know that a lot of this is overwhelming. The thing about learning fighting games is to learn it in pieces. Learn to chunk your data. You don't have to learn all of this at once. What you do is you run through the tutorial. It's important to do the entire tutorial, and then play with the basics. Just because the entire tutorial doesn't stick with you doesn't mean that you didn't get anything from it. Sometimes you might just have to go back and do it multiple times. Every time I do the tutorial in this, which I have done it a lot, I get a little bit better. Every time you practice, you get a little bit better. Fighting games and learning fighting games is about growth, not about victory. Hit confirmation chains. Using a chain of safe attacks gives you a lot of time to confirm whether your attacks hit or were blocked. This is called a hit confirmation chain. Since more damaging attacks are riskier and leave you vulnerable, hit confirming helps you test if it's safe to continue your combo into those attacks. If your poking chain hits, you now know you can safely combo into more damaging heart attacks without fear of being punished. If your poking chain was blocked, you should try another poking chain instead of risking heart attacks. Quick water break there. A lot of people who are new to fighting games, once they learn their special moves and learn their ultras that spend bar and look really flashy, they'll get into this nasty habit of thinking, I know the special moves, I can just throw those out and be fine. And they forget the basics, especially hit confirming. Those special moves can be used as a punish, yes, but that's going to require a lot more familiarity with the game than a newcomer is going to have. Or you can combo into them and use them to maximize your damage. Throwing out something like Fukua's got a really big fireball super. Throwing that out at full screen is a complete waste of meter. Your opponent is going to see it coming. Alright, so we are to hit confirm from crouching light kick into crouching medium kick. If the hit confirm works, we'll do a sweep with crouching heavy kick. If it doesn't work, then we wait. Wait. Sweep. Wait. Wait. Sweep. Wait. Sweep.
Incredible!
Mix-up offense. Learn how to wield mix-ups of your own. This, I think this is the Parasol tutorial that I was thinking of earlier. It is! I'm terrible at this one. Please bear with me. When on the offense, you will have more success if you vary the height of your attacks so that it's harder for your opponent to block them all. The most basic approach is to attack with a jumping attack that must be blocked high, and then a crouching attack that must be blocked low. It's so effective that you're probably going to overuse it with other people who are new to the game. This is the most basic mix-up. Remember that. Somebody who's familiar with the game, the first thing that they're probably going to do is block high on the jump in and then block low for the incoming low mix-up. That means if somebody successfully blocks that mix-up, you are free to do other things. Jump in with your high attack, maybe whiff the high attack on purpose and go for a grab. That's called an empty jump into a throw. It's a long time running, tried and tested strategy, goes all the way back to the days of Street Fighter II World Warrior. Beyond that, you can jump twice. You mix it up. That is the purpose of a mix-up. But beyond just relying on chance, it's training your opponent that you're going to attack in a certain way and then attacking in a different way. If you don't get it now, you will get it with experience. Alright, so we need to hit with a crouching light kick after a jumping heavy punch. I was way too far out. There we go. Overhead attacks. A rare few ground normals hit high and thus must be blocked while standing. Attacking with low attacks and chaining into high ones is another effective mix-up technique, and one that Parasol and Painwheel are frustratingly good at doing. Alright, so Parasol's standing back high kick is an overhead attack. See how much time that takes? You have several startup frames. That's that animation where her leg is straight up in the air there. I know what you're looking at. But her leg, I assure you, is going up in the air. If you're guarding against that, that is your cue to stand up. You treat that as a jumping attack, because that is going to hit overhead. So our goal is to chain crouching medium into a standing back heavy kick to create a low-high mix-up. Now, note, this is not actually a combo. Crouching medium kick. Well, you know what? No, I don't know. I don't know if that's a combo or not, because I don't play Parasol. That might be a combo. I don't think it actually combos, but it might. Using mix-ups with hit confirming. Try using a high-low mix-up on your opponent. If your mix-up is blocked, chain into an overhead. If your mix-up hits the opponent, chain into a sweep instead. So we're going to jump in with a crouching heavy, or with a jumping heavy punch into crouching light kick, medium kick. If it was all blocked, we're doing this. If it connected, we're finishing with a sweep as our finisher. So I should have swept there. Oops. There we go. There we go. It was messy. It was messy. I apologize for the messiness. Parasol is one of my least used characters, so I don't really play her too naturally. Every time I do the tutorial, I kind of have to relearn her again. I totally skipped to the next tutorial. Let's go back for a second. Okay, good. It did go to the right one. I never know, so I wanted to be sure. This is the final lesson of Chapter 2, Throwing. Learn how to use throws and defend against them. Throws are a very, very, very important part of fighting games. Back during the early days, back in 1992, when Street Fighter II first hit the arcades, throws seemed so overpowered and were so misunderstood that they were considered to be cheap. And a lot of people even had house rules where if you did accidentally throw your opponent, then your opponent got to throw you for free because it did a massive amount of damage. Things have kind of worked their way out. They've been balanced a bit further since then. But throws are what you use against somebody who's really good at blocking. If somebody is blocking all of your attacks without a problem, throw them. They can also be used as a mix-up device. As I stated before, on a jump-in, it's very common after a jump-in to go low. Instead of going low, throw. Throws are powerful close-range grappling attacks. To execute a throw, stand right next to your opponent and press light punch and light kick simultaneously. If you're using a controller or pad of some kind and this is not a comfortable command, remember, the game has macros. You can set up one of your buttons to hit both light punch and light kick at the same time. Sorry, needed some more water there. While you need to be uncomfortably close to your opponent to successfully throw, they're difficult to defend against because they cannot be blocked. Note, you can change the direction that you throw your opponent by which way you're pushing the control stick. If you're pressing forward or the stick is neutral, you will throw them forward. If you are pushing back and hit throw, you will throw them behind you. Apparently, I waited too long, so we had to start throwing again. Oh, okay, no, there's a separate tutorial for throwing your opponents backwards. So, as I just stated, back and throw will throw your opponent behind you. The poke and throw. Throws work best when the opponent isn't expecting them. Attacking with a couple fast normals and then throwing while they're stunned is a classic throw setup. So we're going to combo light punch into light punch, which does not have a long block stun. Very, very few block stun frames with your pokes. So it's generally safe to go ahead and throw a couple of pokes and then throw.
Had to do that.
Like so.
Meant to do that. Meant to do that. Jinx. Jinx. Jinx.
Wow, she's being stubborn about this. Problem is I'm treating her like a person and I'm mixing up my timing. Which is good. Sometimes you throw a poke and you can just wait. Throw a poke, wait, block maybe, backstep, get out of the way. They might whiff something. Since throws can't be blocked, your opponents will try to circumvent your defenses with them. However, if you press light punch, light kick quickly after your opponent initiates their throw, you will break it and avoid the damage. This does work in the air as well. In Skullgirls, every character has an air throw. You can throw in the air. You can also tech those throws in the air, also known as throw breaking. You will not be able to break incoming throws while crouching. We covered that. So I missed it. You got to get it on the startup frames. To get through this tutorial, you can totally mash. But it's a good idea to try and get into the timing of it and try to learn those startup frames. Against a human opponent, you're not going to do it on reaction. I don't know anybody who can do it on reaction. There are pro players out there who play like, you know, Marvel and Persona and really fast fighting games. I don't know anybody who actually breaks throws on reaction. What they've done is it's a read. They understand what their opponent is trying to do, and they say, oh, okay, if I was in this situation, I would try to throw me, so I should try to tech that throw. Throws are easy to break when you know they're coming, but rarely will your opponents make it so easy for you. Break your opponent's throws while simultaneously defending against their high-low mix-ups. The trick to this one is she's going to break her combo. When you see that combo break, that's when you're going to go for the breaking the throw. Right there. Oh, she just went for the one poke. Note, I do double tap my throws. That gives you a couple of extra frames of input where it'll see that you're trying to break the throw if you know that it's coming. That's a habit that I've kind of built up from other fighting games. I don't know how useful it is in Skullgirls, but it's a habit I have, and it seems to work for me. Try it out. Okay, so that is the end of the Chapter 2 tutorial. I'm your host, Saigan. When we come back next time, we're going to break into Chapter 3, where we start discussing combos, which is the most exciting part about learning a fighting game, and also something that people put way too much emphasis on. It is important in Skullgirls, but even more important is learning your resets. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'm your host, Saigancat, and I will see you all next time.